To another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. On today's program, we will be talking with Dr. Wayne Westcott of the Exercise Science program at Quincy College. Help you get a healthy start to the new year. First, though, as always, we do check out the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, cloudy. It's pretty mild, 36 degrees right now. It may have some snow showers later on this afternoon, but it'll be mild. The wind will start to pick up, high around 40. Tonight is when the bottom drops out. A bitter blast of Arctic air blows in, and look at the highs tomorrow. Temperatures will only be in the teens. The wind chill tomorrow could be anywhere from 15 to 20 degrees below zero. That's dangerous wind chills throughout the day tomorrow. Single-digit temperatures tomorrow night, but we rebound on Sunday. Mix of sun and clouds. Sunday's high right around 30 degrees, and even milder on Monday with some rain showers. Highs Monday, which is Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, is 45 degrees. But again, cloudy, 36 in Quincy right now. In the news today, a proposal for a new 20-story building in Quincy Center has been withdrawn. Fox Rock Properties of Quincy says it no longer plans to put up that new building with 200 residential apartments and a hotel. Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch says he's pleased with that decision.
Yeah, the new proposal is, it still includes the medical component, but the building got much larger, and it's going to be medical and life science, a biotech life science. That is the world this region is living in right now, particularly Boston, Cambridge, and Quincy's become very attractive to that industry, being on the red line, proximity to the highway, and the great city that we have for all kinds of reasons. So that's the new proposal, which is about 250,000 square feet of commercial. There'd be a roughly 500 car parking garage, and some retail. I want to say 30 to 50,000 of retail in and around the garage. So it is different from the other proposal, but quite frankly, I'm fine with it. The other proposal had a large residential building. We're going to have other residential buildings in the downtown, so I'd prefer to see a little bit more commercials, and this kind of meets that. We said right along we wanted a mixed use, Joe. So residential and retail and restaurant, entertainment, and commercial, and this kind of meets that commercial demand that we're shooting for. Commercial, by the way, is better for our tax levy as well. Pays higher in taxes, so it's a change, but I think it's a good change, and they're going to be in the ground by late spring, early summer. So this is exciting.
Koch says it is unclear if a new land disposition agreement will need to be approved by the City Council for this revised plan. However, he says it's doubtful. Fox Rock Properties will be moving ahead with another development in Quincy Center. Fox Rock will create a new restaurant at the burned-out former Masonic Temple on Hancock Street. They'll also put up a 6-story, 66-unit apartment building with some ground-level retail space behind the former Masonic Temple on Russell Park. And at the same time, Fox Rock will demolish the Citizens Bank building on Hancock Street right next to the former temple and put up a 6-story, 135-unit apartment building with some ground-level retail space. The Citizens Bank branch will be relocated. All the other tenants in that building have already moved out. Demolition is expected to begin soon. More people living in Quincy means there's more liquor licenses now available. Quincy City Clerk Nicole Crispo explains that the increase in population to about 102,000 people based on the 2020 federal census means there's more licenses available to sell alcoholic beverages.
Our federal census numbers resulted in an increase in our liquor license quota. We have 110 full liquor license for on-premise restaurant licenses, 21 beer and wine on-premise restaurant licenses, 21 full liquor package store licenses, 21 beer and wine package store off-premise licenses. So that is the new quota in the city.
Crispo says there are 10 new restaurant liquor licenses, 2 new beer and wine licenses, and 2 new package store licenses available. She says applications for the new licenses are available through her office, but must be approved by the State Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission. The new licenses are separate from liquor licenses that are available in Quincy Center. Crispo says there are still 18 Quincy Center liquor licenses available. Well, motorists, bicyclists, and pedestrians may now use the new General's Bridge in Quincy Center. Governor Baker joined retired Air Force General Ronald Rand and his family, Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch, and others in cutting the ribbon, officially opening the new bridge yesterday. The state-funded $10 million bridge connects the Bergen Parkway with the new General Dunford Drive and the new city-owned parking garage at Kilroy Square. Motorists can turn right onto or off of the new bridge, but there'll be no left turn. The bridge and the new General's Park at the base of the bridge were dedicated to 18 generals with Quincy connections last September. Family members of some of those other generals also attended yesterday's ceremony. The state says that the bridge was delayed about 8 months due to asbestos and demolition issues. Norfolk County Register of Deeds Bill O'Donnell says his office's Suits for Success program recently made a large donation to the Needham Community Council. That council is an over 90-year-old nonprofit group that provides a variety of services, including health, education, and social needs. The donated clothing will be sold at their thrift shop, which provides funding for their food pantry, English language learning program, medical equipment lending program, and a transportation program. To donate to Suits for Success, just bring clothing to the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds on High Street in Dedham Square, or in Quincy, you can bring it right to Interfaith Social Services on Adams Street. Coming up, we sit down with Dr. Wayne Westcott of the Exercise Science program at Quincy College. That's next. Welcome back. It is, of course, that time of year when a lot of folks make New Year's resolutions to change the way they eat, the way they live their lives, and try and get more healthy. And this is also about the time of year we welcome Dr. Wayne Westcott, the coordinator of exercise science at Quincy College, to come out and tell us how to do that. Wayne, Happy New Year, Wayne, first of all.
Happy New Year, Joe. You know how to do that. You've done it for years.
Well,
Great.
It's a lot of effort, and
Yeah.
it's a mindful thing that you have to keep at. It's
Definitely
not,
a commitment, right?
It doesn't
Yeah.
come naturally, that's for
No,
sure.
no.
Thanks for coming over. I appreciate it.
My
very
privilege.
much.
Thanks for having me again. I'm
Pleasure.
so honored to be here.
As always. Before we even start, I want to say congratulations to you for your honor award from the New England chapter of the American College of Sports Medicine.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
quite an honor.
I'm not sure it was totally deserved, but I'm very appreciative and grateful that they selected me for that.
Well, it's quite an
Thank you.
achievement for sure, and
Thank you.
well deserving in my opinion.
Thank
for
you.
sure. How has the exercise science program at the college been weathering the pandemic, Wayne?
Well, last year we were quite short in our enrollment
Yeah.
because all the fitness centers and YMCA's had closed.
Yeah.
So people think this may not be the best profession, but things have been much better this year.
Good.
We've pretty much tripled our enrollment from last year, and hope to continue doing that as people see that, well, wait a minute, with this happening without fitness centers, they need fitness professionals even more, whether it's working at home through Zoom or whatever method.
Yeah.
But people have suffered greatly in terms of their fitness and their health by being inactive at home so much.
It's such a dichotomy, isn't it? It's,
Yes.
we realize, we really have to be healthy and stay fit and stay in shape. If, first of all, to try not to get sick, but if we
Right.
do get sick, to recover more quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly the case. Yeah. So it's been a two-edged sword in that respect. But thankfully, our program is building back, and we're doing very well. Excellent students that are coming back. I'm very impressed.
That's good to hear, for
Yes.
sure. Can we talk a little bit about maybe how to get back into getting fit?
Thank
if we've been away from it for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because it's the resolution time of year,
Right.
I want to say, without disparaging anyone, that I hear a lot of advertisements for losing weight, which is good. People need to lose weight, but they need to lose it the correct way.
Yeah.
When you hear ads that say you can lose 10 pounds your first week, you can, but you don't want to.
Okay.
Just think with me for a second. Let's say that you eat about 2,000 calories per day on average.
Okay.
And let's say that you stopped eating for a whole week. You went on a total fast, you didn't eat. So that's 7 times 2,000, that's 14,000 calories you wouldn't be taking in. Well, if you did that, which would be crazy, I hope you wouldn't do that.
Okay.
You know, no one do that. But that's only 4 pounds of fat. You'd only lose 4 pounds of fat if you ate nothing. So the remainder of that weight you lose happens to be water weight, but water is not stored in your body except temporarily in your bladder, you know, briefly. It's stored in your muscles. Muscles are about 75% water. So you're losing muscle weight, muscle mass, lean tissue. And in fact, even the example I gave isn't quite true because your body can only process, metabolize about 2 pounds of fat per week. So anything over a 2-pound weight loss per week, you're losing something other than fat. And that other is the muscle that keeps your metabolism up, keeps you burning calories, and so it just exacerbates the problem. So I tell them, don't look to lose more than a couple pounds per week,
Okay.
and be sure you do some exercise along with that to maintain your fitness and your muscle mass, so that you don't go down in metabolism, which means you're going to definitely gain the weight back,
Yeah.
as unfortunately 90% of all successful dieters do.
Because you have to start eating again, right? Yeah, I mean,
Yes, you have to go back. You can't.
you have to eat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it really sounds like the focus should not be so much on losing the weight, but really gaining the muscle, right? Kind of switch it upside down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I had to say what was the most important, I'd say regain your muscle. Joe, you know this because you know it and you study it. But people, as they age, lose approximately 1/2 to 1 pound of muscle per year, 5 to 10 pounds per decade, depending on your age and other characteristics, if you're not doing some type of resistance exercise. Well, that muscle loss is accompanied by a very significant decrease in metabolic rate, which burns most of our calories every day because most of us we're not farmers or we're not lumberjacks. And so when you lose muscle, metabolism slows down, and the calories that used to keep that muscle alive and functioning, because it's very active tissue even at rest, those calories go into fat depot, and you get what we call the creeping obesity.
Okay.
So if you really wanted to reverse that permanently, you'd say, I need to get my muscle back, so I'll do some resistance exercise along with your aerobic activity, and then healthy eating, of course. I'm not downplaying the nutrition part. That's very
Right.
important.
Okay.
And this is what we teach our students. I'm sure other colleges do, but we say, you got to go out there and don't be mean about it, but say, no, don't lose 10 pounds in a week. You need to do this, this, and this to maintain your health and fitness.
So maybe not even focus so much on the numbers, right, of pounds,
Right.
but
Yeah,
more
because
the activity. Yeah.
What happens in our studies, so in a couple of our 6-month studies where people lost fat but also gained muscle, so our most important study, they lost 14 pounds of fat, but they gained 4 pounds of muscle. So you look on the scale and say, well, I've only changed by 10 pounds.
Right.
They tell I can do 10 pounds a week. I did 10 pounds in half a year. Yeah, but you actually had a change in your body composition and your health and fitness and your personal appearance of 18 pounds, 14 pounds less fat, which is good, and 4 pounds more muscle, which is really good. And the follow-up to that study was a 6-month, what we call, a maintenance study to see how they did in the next 6 months when they went back to normal eating. Like you said, you can't diet forever.
Right.
And the only study ever, Joe, published, out of the 1,000 studies published, that they not only didn't regain weight at all, they maintained their weight, but they actually continued to gain muscle and lose fat in the maintenance period. That's never happened before. So when you do things right, you get more permanent results.
Yeah, you talk about some of the ads that you've heard and seen, and some of the ones that I've seen are focusing kind of on the psychological aspects of weight loss and healthy fitness. Is that something that you teach at the college? Is that something that we should be aware of?
We probably don't teach it as much as we should, but we certainly do. We have done studies on that with the leading exercise psychologist, fitness psychologist in the world, Dr. James Anesi in Atlanta, and he does the psychological information.
Yeah.
It's way over my head, Joe.
No,
I just do the physiological, but they're absolutely right, and we're trying to build that more and more into our program.
Okay.
Yes, the psychological aspect, the emotional aspect, extremely important.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
How do you know, Wayne, if you need to get healthy? You know, I mean, what benchmark do you say? Oh gosh, I put on weight. I'm inactive. How do you know when it's not healthy?
All right, this is not meant to be serious, but the best thing to do is put the bathroom scale away. Just stand in front of the bathroom mirror after you come out of the shower. Jump a little jump. If it jiggles, it's fat. Okay.
Okay.
Now, that's tongue in cheek, of course.
All right, yeah.
But really, what people need to do is not so much look at this scale, because let's say that I weigh the same now as I did at age 20. And let's say that was 5 decades ago, okay? And let's say I didn't strength train, and let's say I'm losing 5 pounds, at least 5 pounds, would be more than that, but at least 5 pounds per decade of muscle. So I could weigh the same, but in those 5 decades, I've lost 25 pounds of muscle, and if I weigh the same, I've added 25 pounds of fat.
Gotcha.
That's a 50-pound change, even though the body weight and the BMI is the same. So we encourage people, and we do this for free for anyone, come to our fitness center at Quincy College, and we'll do a body composition to how much muscle you have, how much fat, what your percent body fat is. A female in good condition would be under 25% body fat, and a male in good condition, like you, would be under 15% body fat.
Okay.
And if you're above those numbers, regardless of your weight, it's an indication, well, maybe I need to lose a little fat and add a little more muscle because I made these changes.
All right, so there are benchmarks to meet and
yes,
guidelines
absolutely.
to follow. Okay.
That are well established and not just based on the weight, because the scale doesn't tell you what makes up that weight.
Right, exactly. For during the pandemic, of course, a lot of folks, as you say, put a halt to all kinds of going to the gym or physical activity. Can you kind of pick up where you left off if you haven't done it for a while?
No.
Okay.
And that goes back to your first question.
Yeah.
In addition to the nutritional aspects and the diet and the weight control, you need to start slowly.
Okay.
What happens, and I'm guilty of this, just like most everybody else is, I've been in shape, and all of a sudden you're traveling, or you have a cold or the flu or something, and you come back, you say, I'm going to pick up right where I left off, and you get injured, and then you're laid up for twice as long as you should have been. If you come back, say, I'm going to go back at half what I did, or if it hasn't been too long, 3/4 what I used to do.
Okay.
Instead of bench pressing 100 pounds, I'm going to bench press 75, or whatever it might be. If instead of running 2 miles, I'm going to run a mile or a mile and a half, and build back slowly. Then your system has a chance to adapt and adopt, and you move farther ahead. Otherwise, you're finding this up and down injury, or the psychological. Gosh, I couldn't do it. I'm really out of breath. I'm not going to do this anymore. It's not working.
Right.
I'm going to go bowling instead. Nothing against bowling, but it's just not quite the same.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and you get it, and you set back, and you say, "Gosh, I was there, and now and I'll never get back." But you will get back.
It's all about patience, patience. And I know you know that because you practice that. Yes.
Yeah, it's not easy, and it changes as you get older too.
Oh, yes.
What about for younger kids, Wayne? When do you kind of start letting them be more aware of what they should be doing?
We have a course at the college that I wish every college had,
Yeah.
Youth and Senior Fitness. Now, in the YMCA days, you remember we used to do all those youth research studies. We were the people in the entire world, Dr. Feigenbaum, who worked with me, who put youth strength training on the map, that children need to strength train. Say, oh no, it's bad for the bones. No, children who strength train, 9-year-old girls who strength train added 6.4% to their bone mineral density in that year of life. 9-year-old girls who didn't strength train, because they're growing, they still had some, they added 1.4%. It doesn't hurt your bones, it helps your bones. All types of physical activity is best for children. And they're the ones that respond the fastest because they're going through normal growth and maturation. So they really need to be active and not at home, doing nothing. They need to do something in that home of a physical nature, or they miss out on that. And again, it is age related. Those are times when you get the most benefit.
What do you think about these electronic fitness apps and all these gadgets that can track your breathing and your walking and your heart rate? Do you think they're worthwhile?
I do.
Okay.
And older people like me, we go by the old method. I take my heart rate, I know this, I know that, check my blood pressure, all those type of things. But for the younger generation who's so into the technology, I think it's right up their alley. It fits in so perfectly. It's right on their phone, and it's very motivating. I think the technology is extremely good. In fact, our national organization, when you just mentioned the American College of Sports Medicine, does a survey every year of the 10 most popular fitness trends of that year, and right at the very top is the technology, exercise technology.
Is that right?
That's the hottest item, and again, that's good because we're reaching generations that grew up with this and otherwise might not be as interested in fitness because it wasn't as part of much of their lifestyles as it was when you and I grew up. We did a lot more things physically than electronically.
Well, it's so much of it is interactive now too. We see these devices where you can virtually train with somebody through a electronic device on a treadmill while you're running in Hawaii while you're actually in,
know.
Quincy.
I know, and this is something we're trying to move our program a little more towards this for
Okay.
the students who say, I really think it'd be good for me to start training people virtually or whatever. I'd like to
Yeah.
try that because of the situations, and we're moving in that
Really?
direction. Yes, I'm not the one to lead that,
Yeah.
but the younger professors who really know how that technology works.
Is it important to have a partner, like a workout partner, or
I think it is.
motivational?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I was telling you before the show, my friend Dick and I train together. We've done it for decades.
Yeah.
Every Saturday, we go for a hike or a bike, a hard hike and a hard bike. And
Yep.
it's just, we always look for that. Now, during the week, we can't always train together, but to train at least occasionally with someone else and enjoy their company and a friendly competition, even if you will, or push, I shouldn't say it, it's not competition, but just pushing each other, a little
So
bit.
there's a social aspect to it.
It is.
Also, yeah.
Psychological and social, absolutely.
Yeah. Mind over matter?
Yeah. so when I'm not feeling like pushing the pace, Dick said, we got to go a little faster, and vice versa, and it really helps. So
Sure.
I'm so glad we did that today.
Yeah. For some older folks, we should talk a little bit about
Yes.
some good ways for them to stay in shape, stay active,
Absolutely.
stay healthy, and stay safe at the same time.
Yes,
right?
that
Yeah.
same course, the youth and senior fitness, the seniors, they need this so desperately because although they were active, my wife is active with a horse, that type of thing, or farmers. They weren't always sitting in an office, but they didn't do strength training.
Yeah.
And so this is the key for older adults, is to rebuild the muscle and bone that you've lost during that aging
Oh, you
process.
lose bone also.
You lose
Oh,
you
great.
lose bone at a much faster rate than muscle.
Really?
People lose muscle when they're over 50. They lose muscle 5 to 10% per decade, but they lose bone, especially postmenopausal women, at 20 to 30% per decade. That's
my.
2 to 3% per year. We wonder why, basically 1 out of 2 women and 1 out of 4 men have bone issues and even fractures that lead to, medical problems.
I see.
When they're over age 60.
Okay.
So, yeah. So the strength training is the real key for older adults. It's
And
key
that
for
helps,
everybody.
That helps
but-
with bone also, bone building?
Yes, we did a 9-month
Really?
study in which the participants who didn't do anything, they lost 1% of their bone in the 9 months, and the participants who did the strength training took a little extra protein to help build the bone.
Yep.
They increased their bone by 1%. Now that was back in 2009 when the medical profession said, you can't do that. We said, well, yes, you can. Now, numerous studies have shown that.
Yeah.
But we did remember we had UCF Quincy Hospital here? And,
Yes,
And we
sure.
did the bone density test right over there, and the radiologist said, Wayne, don't be discouraged. You only gained 1%. They didn't lose 1%. That's
Right.
a big change. I said, yeah, I
Okay.
guess you're right. But now we know how to do that even a little better. But yes, you can build bone and muscle at any age, but the bone comes along a little more slowly.
Okay.
You lose it faster and you gain it less fast.
I wasn't aware of that. That's
Yeah.
just something else to be aware of.
Yes, it's a good thing to know,
Yeah.
right?
Well, it's good to know that the strength training helps both. You don't have to do something separate.
It does. Now, we also do, of course, we do cardio and aerobic activity
Yeah.
along with it. We're a 50-50 split.
Okay.
But most people understand, yeah, I should go for a walk. My doctor said I had to walk. Of course you should. But don't forget the resistance exercise.
Okay. Do you need to sweat? Do you think you need to sweat to get a good workout in?
Well, sweating is how hot you are. If you've been to our fitness facility, Joe, we keep it fairly cool because we have mostly adults and older adults
Yeah.
in there, middle-aged and older adults, and so we keep it down around about 65 degrees,
Okay.
so they don't sweat too much, but they get a good workout. But the main thing with older adults, you don't want them to overheat, so we keep
Okay.
it cool. It's a little tough when you're an instructor in there because
Yes.
you have the sweatshirt on, but when you're exercising, it feels really good.
Okay.
So they don't sweat too much. But if you go out on a warm day and you go for a run or something like that, of course you're going to sweat. Yes.
Yeah. What about supplements, Wayne, and vitamins? Is that something that should be part of a fitness regimen?
We haven't done any research on that specifically, but my wife's physician, they they say your B12's down a little bit on the test. Your
Yeah.
vitamin D's down, so we like you to take some. So I think, I'm certainly agreeable to that.
Okay.
But we have done a lot of research on protein.
Yes.
And as we age, we do not process protein as well. We do not assimilate protein as well, and yet we need it just as much because that's the only way you can build muscle and bone. So as people age, they actually need a little more protein in their diet, not less. And the RDA has always been a little bit low. So in our studies, we do a little higher than the RDA, and we get excellent results whenever we compare adding protein to the training as not adding protein.
Yeah.
We always get better results, significantly better results when we add a little
Okay.
protein.
For folks, just RDA recommended daily allowance, right?
Yes, yes, recommended daily allowance, yes. Yes,
I always
right.
like to clarify the acronyms.
Yes,
Folks,
yeah, I'm
what does
sorry.
that mean?
Yes, and you know, we're not doing anything dangerous or anything like that.
Of course, yeah.
We only go by the prescriptions of Harvard Medical School, but
Yep.
they've advocated higher protein intake.
Okay.
We agree with that.
It's always good to see you. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
It goes so fast.
I know.
Thank you, Joe. You always
I
ask
know.
the best questions.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Happy, healthy New Year.
You too.
Thank you very much. Just enough time to recap the forecast for you for the rest of the day. Today, it'll be cloudy, pretty mild, 40 degrees or so for a high. Could see a snow shower blow through. That ushers in the bitter blast of Arctic air tomorrow. Teens for temperatures, below zero for wind chills. So not a good workout day outside, at least tomorrow for sure. It'll be better on Sunday. Some sun and clouds, 30 degrees, maybe some rain around here. On Monday, mild in the mid-40s. Thanks again to Dr. Wayne Westcott for joining us.
Joe, thank you.
Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching. Speaking of Monday, we are off for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Back here next Friday to learn all about the Good Neighbor Energy Fund. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a safe weekend.